No country in Europe produces more cheese than here in Germany. But most of those exported are produced on a huge industrial scale. Despite a history of more than 2,000 years, artisan cheeses have almost disappeared. So I've travelled here to learn more about some of those still made from raw milk. The Federal Republic of Germany is the largest economy in Europe and produces a massive 1.8 million tonnes of cheese a year. Much of this is predictable industrial processed cheese, and traditional German cheese produced on the farm the old-fashioned way is very hard to find. The Romans described the original cheeses made by the wild Germanic tribes in 55 BC as lac concretum, a reference to a very basic solid curdled milk cheese made from sour milk left over from butter making. The introduction of rennet and more sophisticated cheese-making techniques over the following centuries led to a growing range of traditional hard and monastic washed rind cheeses. But for many years, rearing cattle and pigs was considered far more important than making cheese, and most farms simply made butter on a strictly seasonal basis. During the 19th century, traditional cheesemaking almost disappeared, and it seems a bit ironic that after so many years of cheesemaking, the most recognised of all traditional cheeses still found here is a fresh sour milk cheese. Leading me on my German cheese safari is Ursula Heinzelmann, a food authority who's written extensively on the subject of Germany's artisanal cheeses.
Actually, I'm going to take you to a farm near Hamburg, Hofdanwisch, one of the oldest biodynamic farms we have. And there, Tobias Schüller, the cheesemaker, created some years ago, he created a new cheese called Aschkäse, ash cheese.
Ash cheese, yeah.
And I think it's just wonderful. So there's a lot to discover, you'll see.
The most popular cheese in Germany is a fresh variety called quark. And one of the finest examples comes from this biodynamic farm north of Hamburg. It's made from fresh, raw milk from these beautiful cows. The Hofdanwisch Biodynamic Farm was established more than 50 years ago and is home to half a dozen families. The farm makes butter, cream, yogurt, and some very unusual new varieties of cheese. But veteran cheesemaker Tobias Schüller is perhaps best known for his quark. The process begins with the removal of cream from a vat of soured milk that has rested overnight. Tobias then cuts the curd with a long, thin blade, and it's ready to be drained. So now this is all raw milk?
That is all raw
and
milk.
And most importantly, biodynamic raw milk?
Yeah, biodynamic since more than 50 years.
Fantastic. This quark, is this the way quark was once made in all the small farms around Germany?
But they made it at home as well. Just they bought some milk from the farmer and they did it in their kitchen. 2 hours and then it's ready here.
Okay, and then you just scoop it into...
And then I put it in this big trays that over there.
Yeah.
In here.
Yeah.
And then I stir it very smoothly. Then it's like a cream, like I call it cream quark. Because it's like big, thick cream, you say.
Tobias explained that the secret to his great tasting quark was not simply the farm's biodynamic raw milk, but also the homemade mother starter culture used to sour the curds. This is prepared every day in a small churn after cheese making from leftover whey.
That means 100 liter milk, 1 liter of culture. And that will be the culture for tomorrow, and the mother culture for making culture for Saturday again. Originally, It was a culture which grew wild here in the dairy.
Ah, okay.
And usually I throw everything away, but before I throw anything away,
Yeah.
I smell on it and then I throw it away.
Yeah.
I chuck it off.
So this one smelled really...
Once it was that delicious. Oh, sometimes it's very delicious, and then I just breed it a bit, and then I have a look how it continues and how it develops.
In addition to quark, I was very keen to learn more about the famous charcoal cheese created by Tobias.
It's sweet.
It's sweet milk.
Sweet milk.
So far, it's
Yeah.
good sweet milk.
Delicious. So the first step is to get rid of the whey and warm up these forms.
And then comes the charcoal.
Putting kind of layer, it's a bit dusty. So it's the opposite of cheese making. Cheese making means everything is white, everything is clean, everything is fine and so on. And I make the opposite of that again. Like charcoal and ash is the opposite.
Tobias then adds alternate layers of curds and powdered charcoal until the forms are full.
Okay, fine.
After cheese making, Tobias took me on a short walk around the property to see the stunning biodynamic vegetable garden and greenhouse, and to visit the farm's pigs, which in good German tradition are fed daily on leftover whey. Eventually, we reached the small maturation cellars, which were packed full of cheese in all shapes and sizes.
Solid in the middle. And then you see here this nice marbling of white and black.
Yeah.
Now this contrast of very, very soft and very tasty in the surface
Yeah.
part, and the solid, more quarky part in the middle.
It tastes very mild, fresh, creamy, moist. Oh,
And that is completely different. It's
that's
this
already
contrast
really
is
got a, almost like real cow, wonderful cow, strong flavours. A little bit like a really good camembert or something like that.
That's it.
Or a washed rind cheese.
And it has to ripen very, very good in here to keep this inner side, this inner part fresh, but to ripen very good from the outside.
This is just quark that's been stirred up.
Yeah, maybe with a bit of yogurt
Yeah,
and the herbs.
and the herbs. And what sort of herbs you got now? I can see some dill.
Oh, that's true. Some petersilie, some chives, I suppose.
Yeah, lovely.
Parsley, yeah, genau. Mint you.
Very delicious.
Is it? Okay.
It's really good.
The green pastures of Bavaria in the south of Germany are home to 75% of all German cheese. But to find handmade, authentic, traditional cheeses, you have to head to the mountains nearby, where dozens of small alpine dairies produce Bergkase cheese. From May until early November, cheesemaker Matthias Martin and his assistant Erwin Hoschenberger live and work at a typical dairy in the Alps. It's certainly no holiday up here, and the cheesemaking only starts after the herd of 40 Swiss brown cows have been milked. And despite the weather, Erwin offered to dress up specially in a traditional lederhosen whilst he led the cows out of the barn to graze on the alpine pastures. The cheese-making process involves combining fresh raw milk with lightly skimmed milk from the previous evening's milking. Rennet is added and the cheese is set, cut and heated. Once Matthias judges the curds to be ready, he uses cheesecloth to collect the curds and transfer them to round hoops in a traditional process that's changed little over the centuries. The soft, pliable curds are carefully massaged and are then covered to drain. Cheese making by hand is really hard work, and so the lunch prepared by Matthias's wife Marion is usually big and hearty. Today, Marion is making homemade spätzle with cheese and onions. This Alpine dish is similar to noodles or gnocchi and is made by combining flour, salt, eggs and water.
I can see why you need to eat a lot of cheese up here.
Yes. It's hard work. Yeah, no, it's
Is that okay?
yes.
Right.
After thorough mixing, the sticky dough is pushed through a special grater into boiling salted water where the noodles cook for a few minutes before rising to the surface.
Is this traditional in the mountains?
Very.
Very traditional.
The dish is created in several layers and begins with the first batch of steaming noodles placed in a bowl. These are covered with a generous layer of shredded mountain cheese. The process is repeated again and again until the bowl is full. And finally, browned onions are placed on the top. The combination is absolutely delicious. A gooey, cheesy heaven.
Ask them if they eat this all year or just in winter.
Esst ihr das
Ja,
das ganze Jahr
ja.
über oder nur im Winter? Nee.
Ganz Jahr.
No.
Eigentlich immer am Freitag, weil es ja da,
Oh yeah.
Every
weil man da kein
Friday.
Fleisch isst.
Ah,
Because
Friday.
It's Friday, it's a Lent day, so
Ah,
without
of course.
meat.
A bit more for you. You were working hard out there. It's filthy weather. I want to know where the sun's gone.
Over lunch, Matthias explained that the cows were led up to the mountain pastures each season and how it's traditional for farmers in the region to pay cheesemakers to look after their cows and make cheese in the Alps during the summer whilst they make hay down in the lowlands for the long, cold winter months. At this dairy, Matthias feeds the whey to his pigs, who'll end up as cured ham or worst. After lunch, it's back to work, and after Matthias has turned the young cheeses made that day, we head down to the underground cellar where cheese is matured on wooden racks for 12 months or longer.
Na, probieren wir jetzt einmal den Käse.
Oh, smell.
Whew. Ammonia.
You're not used to that, huh?
Ammonia.
Ammoniak, ja.
No, that's really good mountain cheese. Huh? Er sagt, es riecht nach Ammoniak. Natürlich riecht es nach
Ja
Ammoniak.
klar,
aber
ist ja logisch, oder? Aber
Is it very old, this cellar?
Wie alt ist der Keller?
1865, glaube ich, oder 1867.
1867?
Oh, it's not very old at all, really. Just
No, you have that
150
all
odd
the
years,
time,
nothing
yeah.
really. And it's got an earth
Das
floor.
ja, das ist
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no.
ein jähriger. Schmeckt kann man.
Huh? You smell?
Now that's much better smell. Much better smell. Look at the colour. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Well
it's
done.
nice, yeah.
The most eastern part of the German Alps is known as the Allgäu, and all the mountain cheeses produced here are strictly controlled by PDO regulations. Matthias has collected many accolades for his mountain cheese and is determined to continue this tradition and lifestyle well into the future.
And I want to know about this.
Yeah.
What's this?
Ja, ja, Riesenmaus.
Big mouse.
A big
Monster
mouse.
mouse.
Ja.
Monster rat.
Ja,
No,
genau.
no, they have big mouses here.
Big mouses.
Yeah. Groundhogs actually. Murmeltiere, oder?
Ja, ja, genau.
Ja.
Das wird schon, ja.
Yeah.
No, that's way.
Aber eine ganz schlimme Rasse.
But
von der Murmeltiere.
ganz alte.
Ganz alte, ja.
Ganz an old, very old and rare breed.
Of mountain rat. Of groundhog.
Groundhogs.
Groundhog. Okay.
Ja,
I've
das
got
ist
it
der
now.
Groundhogs.
Ja,
Ja.
jetzt weiß ich es.
Jetzt weiß ich es.
There you go. There you have it from the horse's mouth. Here in this part of northern Germany, if you ask for cheese, the chances are it'll be Tilsiter. It's one of the oldest cheeses made in the country, and most of it today is produced in large industrial dairies. There are just a few small producers, and I've travelled here to visit one of them.
Cheesemaking was introduced to this part of Germany by Dutch immigrants during the mid-19th century. These enterprising farmers drained the flat marshland areas so they would be suitable for dairy farming. And of course, it wasn't too long before they began to create a local cheese called Tilsiter. Ursula had arranged for me to visit one of the smallest producers in the Schleswig-Holstein region. The Ostenfelder Dairy was originally established in 1887, and the current owner and cheesemaker, Hauke Kohl, took over in 1993. This dairy make a traditional smear-ripened Tilsiter, and in true Dutch tradition, it also comes with a variety of added spices, including caraway seed. Today, Hauke is using organic pasteurized milk from his neighbour's herd of Holstein Friesian cows. After the curds have been set and cut, they are gently heated and stirred. And once they've been drained, they're washed with hot water. They are then pumped into rectangular metal forms. Once the forms are filled, they are flipped by hand before being left to drain. After a brine bath, they're placed in the dairy's dark underground maturation cellar, which runs at a constant 11 degrees with 95% humidity. This is the perfect environment for a smelly orange culture known as bee linens, which grows on the rind.
Shall I do this one?
Yes.
Do you eat the rind?
No, it's when it's so old, I don't eat the
But you eat it when it's young?
When it's young, I eat the rind.
Okay.
When it's old, I don't.
Oh, that's really... Oh, it's quite a smelly cheese.
Yes.
Quite smelly. And the flavour. How would you describe that?
It's soft.
Yeah.
Or a little strong.
It's very strong.
Very strong, yes.
It's got a very washed, what I would call a washed rind flavour. A quite cow-yardy flavour.
It's a flavour from, I don't know in English, ammoniac.
Ammonia, yeah. Yeah, it's quite ammonia-y too, yeah.
More longer time it's ripening, more ammoniac comes, and it smells.
Yeah, well, this room is really strong of ammonia too. That's great. Tilsiter Kummel. It's got a lovely, lovely caraway smell. It's still mild and creamy, but the caramel just explodes in your mouth.
Yes.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes. We eat it with bread
And
only with fruits.
Ah, well, yeah, with fresh fruits would be nice.
Fresh fruits.
Yeah, very nice.
After tasting a few varieties, it's easy to see why Hauke has earned such a great reputation for his traditional Tilsiter cheeses. There was just one more dairy that Ursula insisted I visit.
So I'm going to take you to one farm in Langenburg. He now milks 180 sheep. And that's he's probably the largest, if not one of the largest.
One of the first and most successful of Germany's new wave of artisan cheesemakers began his career as a theologian. 25 years ago, he and his wife bought 2 sheep. And today, this is the result. They make 10 different cheeses using raw milk.
Norbert Fischer and his wife originally started making biodynamic cheese from ewe's milk as a hobby on their small farm at Lagenberg, 1.5 hours drive from Stuttgart. However, it didn't take long before neighbours and friends spread the word, and today more than 180 milking ewes graze on the farm's biodynamic pastures, which are filled with a smorgasbord of wildflowers and herbs such as sage and oregano. Norbert is entirely self-taught and likes to experiment with new recipes. And on the day I'd chosen to visit, he was preparing a batch of his famous blue cheese and a simple shepherd's cheese at the same time.
It's perfect.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Hagios Hoteos, Hagios Vesilos, Hagios Hosanatos, eleison humas.
Ooh, look at this.
Yes,
It's a crypt.
it's like a crypt, yes. It's a holy room.
Ooh, I can hear the echoes.
Yes, yes. Salve Regina
The contented, smiling face of this devoted monk turned cheesemaker says it all. And as I walked with him and his well-behaved woolly flock into the fields, it's very clear to me he's realised his true vocation.
You get this lovely sweet saltiness, which balances out with the sheep milk. It's very good. Very good. I'll tell
The
you what.
balance is fantastic. Yeah.
Really nice. How do you see the future of the farm?
Und mein Traum ist, dass sozusagen eine Gruppe junger Menschen,
So his dream is that one day a group of young people
ja, hier ihr Leben lebt, den Käse macht, die Schafe pflegt.
will live their life here, live their dream, look after sheep.
Und ich in meinem Stuhl sitze,
He'd be leaning back in his chair,
mein Schaffino trinke,
drink his Schaffino,
eine Pfeife rauche.
smoke a pipe,
Oh, yeah?
Ja, und die jungen Leute berate und ja,
and just
einfach
advise the young.
mit den jungen Menschen zusammenleben, ist einfach was Schönes.
Well, that's a
And
great vision. That's a great vision. Here's to that.
Well,
Thanks.
Germany's artisanal cheesemakers may be small in number, but those I've met on this trip have shared a great respect for the land and their animals, and an intense passion for producing quality cheese. It seems there is a growing interest in local artisan cheese in Germany, and I sincerely hope that this will continue so small specialist cheesemakers enjoy a long and successful future.
Cheese Slices Germany!
Cheese slices, cheese slices.
Good day. Huh? Well done.
Whoa!
Oh, fine, isn't it? Good. Wash your hands now.
Filthy cheese, Amy. God, what have you done to me?